Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where we discover the communities that are making a difference in the lives of others. Our self-discovery is something we are all making on our life's journey. Here you will find the people that will be your guidance, that will be your inspiration, that will be there for you in support on your journey of life. Do enjoy. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to Choose Positive Living right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I am your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest today is Virginie Lemay-Vriesde. I'm not quite sure how I pronounce that, but we'll go with Virginia. She was in a very serious car accident many years ago, and it became a very interesting redirect for her. She wanted to share the experiences and knowledge that she provided to people to reinvent the wheel, reinvent themselves, and have a better version of themselves more quickly and more easily. She wrote a book called The Revenge on Life. She is an international leadership trainer, coach, consultant based out of Luxembourg. And she combines two passions, the lovely helping of people succeed in adventures of leadership and self-assurance. She calls it salsa. I love that. She's basically turned managers into global leaders by improving their communication, international leadership skills, and confidence. And confidence is that big word that if we're not confident in who we are, we're never going to be confident in what we do. Welcome to the show, Virginia.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. And all the way now from France. So you're getting around, girl.
Yes, indeed.
One of the few that are right now. People are having to teleport right now to get
Correct.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Trying times always test our strength, our courage, our tenacity, and our ability to reinvent or redirect. So you had a redirect like that through a car accident. How about you share that? Obviously, it must have been a horrific accident to do such a change around.
Yes. So it was many years ago. I was living in the Netherlands, and I went to pick up my mom, who is in northern France, so that she could spend a few days or weeks with me on holiday in the Netherlands. And on our way back in Belgium, we got stuck in a traffic jam under a tunnel, and we were standing still when a big truck hit us from the back. And so I ended up in the hospital, and there the bad news started. They told me I needed to stay in bed for 6 weeks. My pelvis was broken, my left arm was broken. And my mom fortunately had minor injuries.
Yeah.
And so because obviously all my families and friends were in France, I asked to be repatriated over there. And so 5 days later, they sent me back to France. And there again, the bad news continued. They said they had discovered another break into my pelvis. And they confirmed that I needed to stay 6 weeks in bed without being able to stand up or even to sit. So I really had to lay down. They put a traction in my knee. And so I stayed 6 weeks in bed. And when after the 6 weeks were over, they came to me and they said, "We have a confession to make. We thought you would become paralyzed." And so that was a bit of a shock to me, but then I was fortunate. They put me in a wheelchair, and then that's here as well when I learned to start to walk again as a baby. And when I did my first steps, they also told me again that I would probably limp and that I would no longer be allowed or able to wear high heels. So to me, that was probably the biggest shock, because obviously as a woman, you always want to wear a bit of heels. But so I restarted to recover. So it took me again another 5 to 6 weeks before I was able to walk properly and climb stairs, and then had some physiotherapy. And the reason they told me at the end, they were so surprised I recovered so well. And they told me, obviously, I had the support of my family and friends throughout this period, because I stayed in total of 3 months in the hospital. But it's also, they told me, because I stayed positive throughout this time. I knew obviously it was a tough time, but to myself, I knew it was just a bad period to go through. and that sooner or later I would go back to my normal life. So that's what I did. It took me a total of 9 months before I was able to go back to work and let's say do more or less normal things. And obviously it took me a few years to get back into shape, because you still have pain in your legs, in your back, etc. And so a few years after, I was looking for a sport to bring me back to shape, let's say, and I found these salsa lessons, and I thought, oh, I like to dance, maybe I should try that. And I went to the first lesson and I was sold straight away. And since then, I took some lessons, went to dance, and the more I was dancing, the more I was improving, and the more I was improving, the more I was invited to dance. And before I knew it, I was one of the great dancers in Amsterdam, and I was dancing salsa in my high heels. And that is my revenge on life, like the title of my book.
Don't tell me I can't, right?
Exactly. And so salsa saved me, because the best part of that is that the pain that I had in my legs and in the back were completely gone. And since then I've continued dancing, well, until recently, until the last few months, but I was dancing pretty much every week. And I continued traveling again, taking my salsa shoes everywhere I could, not to miss an opportunity. And so that's how I really had another look on life. And that really brought me another perspective, that our health is precious and we often take it for granted, but it's when something like that happens that you realize, okay, material things are nothing. We have nothing if we are not healthy.
There is always something that is, it taps us on the shoulders, it gives us a nudge, and sometimes whackaroo, have I got your attention? I've had a few of those, because it must be thicker to change, but I broke my ankle in 3 places, so I've got plates and screws in there, and I used to wear heels, and no more heels. So down to the flats, now and again a little pump, and that's it. But the fact that I love the fact that they didn't tell you until afterwards. My dad was told he had 4 months to live, and that 4 months he went and did everything he shouldn't do, but he still lived 4 years. Had they said to him, you've got many years ahead of you if you change your lifestyle, right? So I think very often people get sicker or even die from the diagnosis.
Absolutely.
And I think if it's being told after, well, we didn't think you would walk again, we didn't think this, we didn't think that, and you're there, well, why not? Exactly, right? So there isn't that preconceived idea, I'm going to be paralyzed, and that's good.
Correct. No, they told me as well. They said they hesitated to tell me, and they said the reason we didn't tell you is because you were always positive, and we were afraid that you would start to get depressed if we would tell you.
Exactly.
And when they told me, I had mixed feelings. On one hand, I was relieved, and I was so grateful that yes, I would walk again. But on the other hand, I was a bit annoyed, because I thought, yeah, well, it's my body. You should have told me, right? But as you said, if they had told me, maybe I would have thought, oh my God, I'm
gone down the doomsday road. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So again, it happened what happened. I'm grateful for the whole experience. But yes, indeed, it's a lot of what you have in mind, and they probably did the right thing, I think.
Yes, I think so, most certainly. I think they have to be very careful, because we know that the body is healed very much by the spirit, the heart, and the mind. And if the mind is given up, the heart can't get through. And if the heart is in despair, then the mind isn't getting any information, and the spirit is broken. So the more you keep a person's spirit up, and that the possibility, well, we don't know what you're going to do. You're going to have to show us. The challenge is on, to push yourself, to believe you can. I wish we saw more of that than what we do see, which is sometimes a lot of doomsday. And I think that never underestimate the power of the mind and heart and spirit in sync.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, and that is at that time that I realized that the mind was stronger than the body. And that's exactly it. If you set your mind to something, even if people say it's impossible, you're not going to be able to do this or that, if you set your mind to it, it is going to happen sooner or later. Maybe not as quickly as you would like, but it will happen. And that was for me the biggest lesson, is the mind is stronger than the body.
Yes, it is. It is what conducts the body. When we're looking at dis-ease of the mind, This is where we get disease of the body,
Yes.
right? And because the reason why, no flow. Our blood, our oxygen in our body needs to flow. Our minds need to flow. The moment we get stagnant in a state of mind, in a state of fear, in a state of doomsday, we are now stopping that chi, that energy from running through our body. And the fact that you took up salsa, and salsa is all about the movement, it kept the flow of your body going. And so it was reaching every area of your body, and your body's going, I love this. This is food. And the spirit's going, oh, I love doing this kind of exercise. And everything got lifted up. And so we need to find what it is that's going to help us, get the body back into flow. And then when the body is flowing, the mind is flowing. When the mind is flowing, the body is flowing. It's a succinctness.
Very true. Yep.
Absolutely. A great way to do it, salsa.
Oh yeah, and I never thought of that. It was just to be fit again, to do some sports, because I always did sports in my life. But it was and I say salsa is still to this day, it's my stress relief, my mental and physical stress relief. It's exactly like you say. Yeah.
Constantly keeps you moving, everything in your body, but it's also joy. And people don't realize that how many people are going through life without the word joy in their hearts or in their minds? It's drudgery. It's, well, I've got to do it. Or is this all there is to life? Because they don't know how to see the joy in the simplest things.
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
And, the simplicity of dancing and salsa, not only good for your body, mind, and your spirit, but the joy you got from it now opens your mind to what other things to be joyful about.
Exactly. No, fully agree.
And if we don't have joy in what we do, if we don't like who we are, if we're disgruntled where we are in life, there is absolutely no progress or creativity in anything in our lives.
Yeah.
So we've got to go in, that 9 months for you was like giving birth to yourself again, that 9 months of gestation of going through yourself. And the only person you had while you're flat on your back is you. Yes, you had family around you, but your thoughts and your conversation inside your head.
Exactly. And that's why I always say with my leadership training or coaching, leadership starts with yourself. And
yes,
as you say, you have to be I always say you have to be the leader you want to follow, and you have to lead by example, and to take care of yourself, and to take care of your body and your mind, and be strong, so that after you can help others. And that's why, to me, this all links together. And that's why I found this acronym of SALSA, Succeed in the Adventures of Leadership in Self-Assurance, because it's an adventure. We don't know what's happening to us, but it starts with ourselves, with the leadership of ourselves, being confident, as you said at the beginning, and really showing the example, and trying to empathize, and really, as you say, aligning the mind, the body, and the soul. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. And where does confidence come from? It's not knowledge-based. One of the problems is a lot of people think that from here up, the head up, the chin up, is where it all is. We have the hard drive, which is the hardwiring to manage the body, and we have the programming. And you're only as good as your programming. And if your programming has switched off your heart, soul, and spirit, and you're not getting any joy out of life, and you don't feel confident, and nothing is pleasing you, it's because there's a disconnect. Back into the flow, back into igniting the whole body and the whole system into play. But that's very often because we put so much emphasis on knowledge that we don't tap into the other aspects of wisdom. The wisdom to know what knowledge is needed in the now. And it's great that we have this knowledge, but we don't know what to do with it until we interact with the heart, soul, and spirit.
Yeah, and wisdom, you gain it via experience, via making mistakes, via learning from other people, observing, and there's so many ways. Yes, correct.
Engaging in life.
Yes.
How many people are saying, well, I don't want to do that. It hurt me once. I don't want to do it again. Well, that everything in life sometimes, I'm sure you didn't get up then on the dance floor of salsa and all of a sudden you're on the ballroom willing walls. It was, you found out you liked it. I bet your body hurt afterwards for a few days, but you knew you got the bug, and the more and more you did it, the better and better you became with it. So we've got to look at that in every aspect of life. We're not going to get it straight off. No. It's not going to kind of click with us or come that easily, but the more you do it, the more you immerse yourself into it, the easier it gets.
Exactly, exactly. Well, it's like I always take the example of little children when they start to walk. They stand up and they fall, and then they try again. They stand up and they fall, and they again and again and again. And it's the same with salsa dancing. If you want, or if you want to play an instrument or learn a new language, you have to practice and repeat and make mistakes so that you learn and you learn and you learn. There is no secret. Nobody is born just on day one and speak 10 languages and play the piano and can dance salsa like that. No, we all have to go through this learning.
Well, you know, the chip that they're inventing and putting in people may be able to do that in the future, but right now, no.
Exactly.
And you ain't chipping me.
No, me neither.
I think in a lot of ways, people have kind of abstained from their own living, almost waiting for a chip. You know, they're kind of waiting for this downloadable app or this chip that will kind of automatically do it for them. Because I feel a lot of people in society have kind of already given up. And, you know, they're just, well, you know, I can't be a manager. You know, I can't be a leader. And it's the moment you start with the language, I can't. Exactly. Right? Then you've told yourself you can't. But the language then becomes, you know, I don't know if I can, but I'm going to give it a try.
Exactly. Yeah. So you call it the chip. I call it the magic pill. People often want, like, they want something. Yes, give me a pill, and then my problems are solved. I'm going to lose 10 kilos. I'm going to be able to dance. I'm going to be able to speak whatever language. They want the magic pill. They don't want to put the effort. And as you said, I love it so well. The connection between mind, body, and soul. You need to be aligned. You need to put the effort, because nothing comes to us just like that. It would be too easy. And if it was really like that, I wonder if we would have pleasure, because like we would not have any challenges. So
right.
Exactly. So
there's actually I've just watched a Russian show called They're Not Like Us, and it's kind of quite cute, but basically it's about kind of robots. And they've created this robot that's very humanized and kind of can evolve. And but she kills people who threaten her now supposed family. But there was a comment made in this, and it's been a comment that I've heard in Westworld and in various other movies that they've brought in AI in, is that when the artificial intelligence becomes more than the human, in other words, they can do more, they could be more, they have all those languages, they've got it all there like Matrix, you know, just download it. The comment was made is now humans want to be like us, but the AI wants to be like the human, because the AI cannot feel like we can, cannot touch like we can, cannot feel the butterflies in when something excites you, cannot even feel the despair when something saddens you, cannot feel the touch of another human being in the same way. You know, that we have something extraordinary in our physicality here, in our human spirit, that no matter AI will ever have, however much it evolves. And why are we always trying to be like something else instead of immersing ourselves into our own beautiful selves?
No, I fully agree with you as well. So I think as well, our society, we are being brainwashed everywhere to fit a certain profile, to look a certain way, to have this perfect whatever. And it's not like that. As you say, we need to have all these feelings, these emotions, and we are all unique. I wish people would stop trying to copy a celebrity or whatever, because we all have something to offer, and we all have something to learn from each other. And that's why I'm thinking, why do you want to look like X or Y? You're just being you. You are good at something, even if you don't know it, but look at all the things you're doing and feel. And it's good, as you say, even if we are in a challenging period, like my accident or whoever is going through a challenging time, in a way it's good. We're going through these times, because after we appreciate things even more. We have a different perspective. If everything was pink and perfect, as I said, we
take it for granted.
Exactly.
And you know, right now with the whole COVID thing in the world, when has there in the time of history, you know, maybe except for the Ice Age, where everybody on the planet has gone through the same thing at the same time.
Right.
And what has it done? It's isolated us. And, you know, a lot of people are moaning and groaning about that. And yes, I know it's very challenging for some, mental aspects, financial, whatever. But also look at the gift of it. It's a gift of time to reflect, to review, to renew. It's a time to change your perspective to who really is important in the world. Without the garbage truck, without the grocery stores, without the nurses, without all the people that are keeping us going, and all the innovators that have stepped up to reinvent themselves, where would we be? And I think this, as you said, the comparison, I think is such a detriment to us. I've been called a couple of times, oh, you're like Oprah. And I said, no, Oprah's like Oprah. I'm like Sarah. But we may have some similar philosophies.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
But I'm not trying to be Oprah. I'm Sarah. Take me or leave me. This is me, you know,
Exactly.
and that is it. And it's also that thing of trying to be for everybody. You want everyone to like you. You want to be enough for everyone. Well, not everybody eats exactly the same food. You are your own dish. And those that enjoy that dish will partake from that dish.
Yeah, no, very true. Very true.
But it does require work.
It does. Nothing is easy.
No.
Nothing is easy.
You don't
And
value it if it does.
Exactly. To your point, when you were saying with this COVID period, I think and I'm hoping that people realize that the two most important things, and we've seen it with the lockdown everywhere, is back again to what I was saying, the health. If we are not healthy, we have nothing else. And our freedom, that's the freedom to move freely. We all took it for granted, apart maybe a few countries that are still very limited. But all of us, we usually can travel everywhere in the world. We can just go outside, do the grocery shopping. And or for me here, even being in France visiting my mom, before this happened, I could just step into my car and just drive to France, and that was it. And now you think, oh my God, this was the freedom I took for granted. And so that puts things so much into perspective, this type of situation. So I'm really hoping people are now going to be less materialistic and focus more on their health, their family, their friends, and really looking at what is really important in the end.
Authenticity and gratitude. Right? Be yourself. The best version of you can be of yourself, always willing to learn, never sit on your laurels. There's always more we can learn. The more we learn, the more we're engaged, and the more we're participating in life, and the more life means something to us. And when we are in gratitude and not what we don't have, but what we do have, we realize we're enriched and already abundant.
Absolutely. And I always say the more at least to me, the more I learn, the more I realize I know nothing, because there's so many things to know.
Exactly. And, you know, I used to kind of think, I remember as an 11-year-old sitting on my bed thinking, well, do I know it all? What more is there to learn? Boy, what was a wake-up call. But in my 11-year-old limited mind, you know, I couldn't conceive how much more there was to learn. But when you step into a wondrous, adventurous, inquiring way of living, then that more to learn isn't like, oh God, I've got to learn more. It's like, what more is there out there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's really the attitude of a leader. You know, a leader is always seeking, you know, what more is out there? How else can we do it? What heights can we go for? And it's not about, you know, the fiscal, you know, how much money can we make this month or this year? It's about how much more can we serve? Because in every business out there, it's always got service in it. And so how can we better serve the people working for us and the people we're supplying? And it's always about being able to see the opportunities, the creativity. The beauty of a manager is being able to take those beautiful ideas and manage them into a construct that now is applicable. So teamwork, we need all of those heads in there to be able to know what to do with the inspiration, the possibilities, and then how to implement it, apply it so that it works for everyone. So the work that you're doing, you know, taking managers into leaders, and sometimes it may be just a manager who's exceptionally good at as a manager, but understanding the leader's process So they know how to take that managerial from the leadership. So it's not always about just becoming the leader. You're leading as a manager.
Yes, correct, correct. And to your point, exactly. I always say leaders are curious, and
Yes.
they ask questions and they listen. And it's very important nowadays, especially we're now living in a global world. So you now have to deal with people that are from different countries, different cultures, who maybe not have English as a native language. And so you just don't know what you don't know. And as you said, by having a team of people, they can bring you perspective or ideas or feedback on something you didn't think of. And they can tell you, well, you know, if we do it this way, or because I've had this experience, or in my country, this works like this. And you're like, I didn't consider that.
Right.
Yes, maybe we could work on that. And that is the power. And that's why I'm so a big fan of diversity, because to me, the more diverse people are, the stronger the team is, because you're bringing all these different aspects, men, women, as I say, people from different countries, different cultures, different abilities as well.
Yes.
There are things you just don't think of as a leader, because nobody knows everything on the planet Earth. And so there is always something you don't know. And by really keeping an open mind, by really taking the time to understand, to listen to your team, to accept feedback, not as a criticism, but like, maybe, yes, you may have a point, or, I learned something today I didn't know. This is how you can put your vision into that's how your vision becomes reality, because you've put all these little things together. And as you say, you are bringing the team together, and that when also every team member sees that their feedback and their opinions are being valued, respected, and embraced, that's how people are even more motivated to work together to achieve goals.
Yeah. See, just what you were doing with your hands there. I always say, take your fingers and fingers across each other, unlock. Now try pulling it apart.
Exactly.
Right? You know, it's everybody there as teamwork. They've locked it in, and they're working cohesively, and there's strength in that. You know, I'm a true colors coach, the 4 key personality traits that we have. And I think that in every team, you must make sure that there is each one of those personality traits, because, I see it this way. Yeah, I see it that way. But have you considered this? And we need the person who sees it at the root level. We need the person who can see it at the blueprint level. We need the person who can see whom it serves, the person who knows how to generate. You need all of those people to lock those fingers together to create that solid team. And then everybody's got everybody's back.
Exactly. No, and especially if your company is serving different types of people, you need to make sure that your team is representing all your different type of people. If you would only have, let's say, only men working in your team, and your customers are also women, well, you're missing.
That's government, darling. That's government.
I know. And everywhere is the same. But you need to bring that aspect. If you have people only from one country, and then you're working now globally, well, customers react differently in different countries. So you also need to bring this aspect. So that's why I love what you did. It's true. Once the team has been put together, it's so hard to break it, because they really are just one. They really make that one.
They become that cohesive, fluid movement of support and creativity. And that is, you know, a good leader makes leaders and other things. Now, they may be the conductor of the orchestra, but all of these people that are here are the orchestra players. And, you know, one time there might be a violinist soloist, another time a piano, and it means everybody gets their voice, right? And you're not always going to go with that person's idea this time, but next time it might be the idea to go with. And so you take away the competitiveness and the comparison, and instead it becomes more of a cohesive collaboration of creativity. And who loses on that? Nobody.
Exactly. There is no way you can lose. Not true. Very true. Yeah.
But it's to getting people there, right? Because we are looking at different system right now. You know, I've interviewed an awful lot of business people, and many from Europe. And, you know, I love the way they're looking at it now. It's changing the governments, it's changing industry and corporations to people, planet before profit. And that realizing your people and your resources from the planet, you invest in them, it will create the profit, right? And the more abundant this team is in feeling its worthiness and that it's there, you know, has a home, has a family, the more that they're going to create together, then more profit. But we've got to get out of the profit at the expense of people, because we can see that that's not working. Only work for the 1%. Have you found that in your business, or you know, as an international coach as well, that perception is having to change in industry?
I think people are starting to realize it. I hope it is going to stay in that direction, and especially as well now with the lockdown that we just had, people had to stay home, and what was the link was disconnection. You cannot, as a manager, and I think some managers who were micromanaging must have had a challenging time, because they could not check what their employees was doing every 5 minutes. So I think it was a lesson for there as well, to see that, hey, the work can still be done even if I'm not behind my employees' back, and I have to trust them as well. I have to really believe in them, that if I give them direction, if I tell them, okay, this needs to happen by then, that they will continue to do the work. So I think it has been, in a way, a good way for people to show that they can work without having someone behind their back all the time, and the managers as well could see that they didn't have to be behind their employees' back. And what was staying is like what we're having now, Sarah. We're on two different continents, but these video calls, they are so important. And when I was working in the big organization, and my last team, they were in Amazon, I was having always video calls with my team members, because they were located everywhere, pretty much in Europe, and also in Costa Rica and Morocco. But this connection is so important, because people see that you care, even if it's just 5 minutes, to ask them, how are you? Do you need anything from me? Do you need help? Are you okay? Are you going to achieve the goal? If they just see that you're taking your time to ask them this question, they will say, yes, I have someone who cares about me and who really is trying his or her best to help me do my job. And that's how people are even more committed. And as you said, this is how they start to be like that. So I think this connection, that is the strong thing, and that's back to your previous point, that will be always the difference between AI and human, is that there is only us who can have this connection. Yes, maybe AI can do all this type of Excel sheets and deliver projects, etc. But the connection aspect, we've now all realized how important it is, and we cannot do without.
You know, money was always an exchange, right? Services, products, it was an exchange. And the people that were in power wasn't based on their money. It was based on their position in life, you know, pharaohs, kings, and lords and masters and all of that. But somewhere along the line, money became the god, right? And when we've realized that money is purely the commodity, you know, the exchange for services, exchange for products, it doesn't define you, doesn't refine you. The more you have, the more responsibility you have over it, and the more consciously you should be sharing it in order to seed opportunities for other people. But it became people's worth. I have this car, I have this, I have that, I have this in the bank, look how important I am. I don't see that importance. I don't care what's in your bank. I see, where is the generous heart? Where is the authentic character? Where is the person that is about community? And just as we are shifting our look at the grocery store workers, the garbage people, etc., and appreciating them more during COVID, I think we're also shifting our value on what is important. And that, yes, money is important. It's the fuel in the tank. Right, but we're turning electric, which means the sun can power us. But the point is that using the AI, like we are right now on Zoom, the computer, by using this along with our human abilities, we have to realize this is also a tool given to us to empower us to reach more people. Even, I mean, people don't think this is intimate. I think it is. I think it sometimes is even more intimate than when you're sitting with someone, right? And when we're looking at all of the TV shows now that used to be, you know, sitting on the couch or on the table, they're all doing Zoom things now and from people's homes. And we're seeing people be more real and be more themselves instead of, I'm at the office, you know, I'm at desk and I'm watching everybody else and there's a bit of tension, you know, I'm in my kitchen now. The kids are running around. That's fine. Let's have a meeting. You know, it just that reality. We're looking for that, aren't we? We're looking for that sense of reality and not this status quo that we've been told we have to follow because it's a facade.
Exactly.
We don't want that. We want real.
Yeah, exactly. No, fully agree. Fully agree.
Getting there. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Being willing. Do you primarily work with the managerial type people?
Yes, usually younger professionals who want to grow in organization, who want to become directors, VP, CEOs, etc. So that's my main target audience. Yes, yes.
And so have you found, you know, maybe from when you first started out to now, the change in thinking, the change in delivery, the change of what is important for somebody in that position now to what it was back in the day?
Yeah, I think, as you said, and especially now with the lockdown, people realize that money is not everything, and achieving results is good, but that's the how you achieve the result that is different. And I know for myself, I was often told that I was soft, but not in the sense of I let people walk on me, but soft in the sense that I was caring about my team members. Gentle, exactly. And often my colleagues even told me, I don't know how you're doing. You're always so gentle, but you always achieve your goals. And the reason is, as I say, because I had always told my team members, I said, listen, I don't want to micromanage. I want to empower you. I want to make sure you can do your job. I trust you. We need to trust each other. I'm there to help you just as much as you're there to help me. And I was really taking the time every time to have my regular one-on-ones every week and team meetings, etc., etc. And I was also telling them, I don't know everything. Please tell me if I'm wrong. Please tell me if you have some feedback, some more ideas, because I need you just as much as the next person in the team to make this work. And I think when people see that, then they are more committed. And one time as well, when I was working in the Netherlands, I was hired to set up a team in India. And I had some colleagues as well in the Netherlands who were from India. And at the beginning as well, I was telling them, because at least 10 years ago, when you were telling them to do certain things, they were saying yes all the time without daring to say no or asking questions.
Or like, what have you asked me to do?
Exactly. And I was telling them, please don't be afraid to say no, to that you disagree. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because I'd rather us having a good discussion and that maybe you're going to also teach me some things because it was a new environment for me, rather than us just going blindly in one direction and in the end making mistakes. And till this day, like a few weeks ago, I still had someone from India reaching out to me and say, Virginie, I told him, I said, oh my God, you're so nice. You never forget me. And he says, I can't forget you because you were so great. You were always taking good care of us. And you was always on our side, and we've achieved results. So I think this is now what people are realizing, is that yes, of course, as a business, you're there to make money, to achieve your goals. But I think this, and I'm hoping that it will continue, that this human aspect will now go more, will be more important for people, especially as well with the millennials coming up. They want also the job more their way, like being more flexible, having a more work-life balance. This is also something that as a leader you need to take in consideration. Not everybody will want to work the same way. And again, by showing you're listening, you're trying to find compromises, what works for them so that it works for you. That makes a team a great team, because again, you are taking everything.
You know whose other strength is.
Exactly.
So the person's got to say, well, you know, I don't know if I can do it. Let's try. And they find out they can, or can't. You know, maybe that's not your forte. You didn't fail. Exactly. Right? You tried. That wasn't your strength, but it's George's strength over here. And George is doing it. So why are you going to give it to Julie when George is good at it? So sometimes you have to identify the strengths of the people and even bring them out, that they don't even know they're there. And how do you do that? Inspiration begets invitation. And when you inspire them by believing in them, and they think, well, she believes in me, I'll give it a try, right? That's all you can ask of someone. Try. If you don't succeed in that area, that's fine. That's fine. We'll look for another area that really where your strength is at. But how do you know what people's strength is? It's not on a resume. I'm sorry.
No,
You know, it's right in the action, right? And knowing how a person is. And I think what we're seeing right now, the adaptability through COVID of many people that work in offices or, work, human to human and not through this medium have been challenged, and that they've now got to go to this medium and conduct meetings and reinvent themselves. And it's been a challenge for some people. And for some people, I much prefer this. Can we keep on doing it? And I think we're also not going to see kind of quote the 9 to 5 so much.
no.
I think we're going to see, people being able to work from home and work in the hours while the kids are at school.
Exactly.
And I also think we're going to see offices not being the fixed offices, but become shared office. I need to have a meeting with people. I'm going to rent an office. So we're seeing so many changes coming about, and resistance is futile.
Yeah.
Go with the flow and discover where it's going and be part of the creativity.
Exactly. No, fully agree. Fully agree.
That kindness and consideration that you gave for each person to reveal themselves.
That's so important. And that's the
Not
role
dictate,
of the leader,
reveal.
Exactly. Yeah. And as you said, as a leader, one of their key responsibilities is to identify the strengths of each of their team members. And as you said, to put them in the right role, because
Yes.
you can have a brilliant person, but if the person is not doing a role or a job that he or she is good at, as you say, he will feel like a failure. He's not going to be motivated. While if you put him
motivated.
in a job, exactly, he or she will thrive, and then you will have the best of that person and the best for your team, because each and every individual will do the job where they're best at, and you will have, as I say, the best team you can have. Yes.
Yeah, that's what it's about. We're that big C word of collaboration. The cohesiveness of energy being shared between people. The inspiration, inviting people to put forth their idea. No idea is bad. You put it on the table and you look at it. Can it work? Can we make it work? No, great idea, but won't fit in here. That doesn't mean you need to be embarrassed because you had that idea. You put an idea out there. Maybe that idea will come up in something else. Do you remember that idea you had on that project? I think it would work here.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing. Nothing is a waste. I think for so long now, we've seen, the hierarchy, the leaders, the CEOs or whatever, the managers, the directors, this and that, and then everybody else, the lowly. And the lowly kind of can't say anything. They've just got to listen to everyone else. And there hasn't been any invitation to participate. It was go and do what I tell you to do. And so where's the creativity? It's in just 2 or 3 people at the top. And you're losing all of that wonderful creative ability that are in other people that you are just dishing out rules and roles to without inviting them to really be a part of it. Those days are gone.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think it was Steve Jobs who said something like, why hire people, smart people, if you tell them what to do?
Yes, yes.
It's just like, what's the point? If you're hiring people who are very, very smart, and then if they cannot express their creativity and show where they're good at, then
then what's the point? Yeah.
The waste of talent.
Yeah. And how often do we see somebody with, multiple degrees, but really don't have the creativity to express it because they haven't tapped into the, the soul, heart, intellect, and other people that maybe haven't had those degrees, but are people that just have the ability to see things.
Yes.
Right. And so do not discard them because they don't have the MBA, the BBA, the DDA, and all of that behind their name. Right. It is about allowing, inviting, inspiring, giving them a platform to express themselves. And my goodness, what comes out?
Yeah.
Right.
No, you just never know.
You never know. And people like Steve Jobs and Richard Branson and a few others, and Elon Musk, they are always people in, well, what's possible?
Yeah.
Let's discover what's possible. If we go down that road and that's not possible, that's fine. But what do we learn that we could apply elsewhere and just change directions? And I think if you live in what's possible, not what's possible, but what's possible, then you're always inviting your mind to be working and you're allowing your spirit and your heart and your soul to be a part of that equation.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's always says, always seeing the glass half full instead of half empty. Yeah. So
well, that half full of water is half full of air. It's always full. It's just a question of how we look at it, I'm very excited about kind of the future that's being molded right now, and it was being molded before COVID, but now COVID forcing people to be in isolation. Of course, phase 2 is coming. It's going to be round 2 of where we don't quite know how it's going to hit. One of my guests said it's going to hit the lymph glands, not the lungs this time, so it might even be harder to identify. But hopefully we've learned, and we get active straight away, so we don't have such a big pandemic. But I think we're going to see more and more business done online, and it become more of a norm. And then people have said to me, but then what about, the human contact, the chats around the water cooler and all of that. That's when you go and make an effort to meet, when everybody can go back out. Friday lunch, everybody out, let's just catch up physically. And or do something where you bring people together.
But even online, you can still do that. And that's one thing I was also suggesting. I say, of course, you can have your one-on-one meeting and your team meetings to discuss business stuff. But you can also say every morning at 10 for 10 minutes, we go on to a Zoom call and we talk about whatever we want except business. And then how was the weekend? Or you went to run yesterday, or you went to dance, or what did you do, or whatever. This is just, again, it's not the same as drinking in a bar with someone, but at least there is this little something where you don't have to talk about work, but talk about anything else.
Right. But, yeah. And the beauty on the Zoom meeting, hey, George, can I speak to you afterwards? And you stay on, and that's the beauty of it. It's just an adjustment. Yes. It's just it's a time to bring up those creative juices of how you can interact again. My kids and I, we use Zoom, and we played code games, and Pictionary by Mouse is very interesting. But just being able to interact with them. And I think this is another blessing we have at this time, is the fact we do have this technology. Yes. And it has connected us. So if people had just been completely and utterly isolated with none of this, then I think we would be seeing, a lot more sickness, because it would convert into something else. But this has been a blessing.
Oh yeah, I said, I can't remember to who I said that if we had that 20 years ago, 25 years ago, we would only have had the phone, basically.
Yes. And phone bills would have been exorbitant.
Exactly. And as you say, you would have had many, many more people who would have gone into depression or burnout or whatever. So yeah, in a way, we are fortunate to have this happen now and not...
And apparently Corona has been around. It comes around every few hundred years. It's been around right from the beginning. And it's one of these ones that manifests itself in kind of different ways. And, pandemics happen. And they've already happened quite a few times in the last 100 years. So this one just happened to be a global one. And we're seeing a great deal in North America here about Black Lives Matter. And then we have the Me Too movement. And then we've got the COVID, people fighting that it's fake news, and, and other people saying you're putting people at risk. And I've got a saying that the universe is here to shake us up, to wake us up, for us to step up and change it up. And I think that's in every aspect of our lives. Yeah. And the shake it up and the step up, is happening in business. We can't do business as normal. You could still be just as an effective manager and leader this way as you can actually being there. And, it is an invitation for us to reflect on ourselves and where we want to go. And maybe, I'm tired of being a manager. I'm really a leader at heart, and I want to really step up there. How am I going to voice myself on the next Zoom call? But it is, let's look at it as a time in our readjustment as creative.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, that was a unique opportunity for many of us, even if it was not the nicest time, because again, some people were really isolated, so it was not fun, and some families as well who had to juggle between taking care of the children and their work and home and cooking and cleaning, etc. So it was not easy for everybody. So I think this really provided us an opportunity to reflect and to really see what was important and how, as you say, we can be creative and continue doing our work, or even become a better version of ourselves in different ways, many ways, as many as possible. Yeah.
I don't think we're going to encourage people with just the regular cold and flu to come to work anymore.
No.
No, oh God, no cold and flu, you stay home.
Yeah.
And I think we, suddenly where we shouldn't need to tell people this, but suddenly people have got to the importance of washing their hands, and keeping out of people's space. And, it's a lot of everything is common sense, but we get caught up in an old rut just because it's a rut. It's an old program. And then we, it's times like this that we look at it and go, that program doesn't work anymore. We have to rewrite it.
Yeah.
And that positive attitude, that gentle attitude, that not pushing people, but showing people how much more they can be is a gift. And so it makes you a great coach because of that.
Yeah, true.
So where do you work? Now you're online. I mean, are you in different countries with all your coaching, or what's your demographics?
Yeah, so I'm mostly based in Luxembourg. However, I have clients from all over the world. I do like Zoom calls like that whenever it's possible. So as I say, my home base is Luxembourg. I'm doing online at the moment. Whenever we can travel and someone needs me in the US, in Singapore, wherever, I'm ready to go.
Right.
I'm very, very flexible. But at the moment, so it's mainly online. Yeah.
Right, and that breaks down borders. It's oh God, you've got to get a flight to go to so and so to do a meeting. Well, all you need to do is sit here, and there you go. And the beauty of it is you can record it so people can go back and review it.
Exactly.
Catch what they said at this part. Now you've got the meeting there. You can record it and go back and listen to it again and absorb it in a different way. So lots of benefits to it.
Yeah, and as you said, it forces you to be creative as well.
Yeah.
There are things you were doing on site, like a silly example, like using post-its and putting them on the wall. Well, obviously, it's difficult to do like that in Zoom, so you have to find other ways. Okay, do I do another activity, or how do I do this post-it? So it forces us as well as coaches to go outside of our comfort zone and try different things. And that's great, because otherwise, if we had not been forced into this situation, we would also not have.
Well, the beauty of this is you can share documents on Zoom. You've got a whiteboard where you can write things. There's a lot of gadgets on here that one can use, which is great. And I mean, it's Zoom nearly dropped because there's so many people going on it. But for them, it's become, oh well, people need this, people need that. We'll give it to them. So not everybody is designed to be the manager or the leader. Because they don't either want the responsibility, or it is very much based on almost public relations, knowing people and how to work with people. Some people just simply want to stay in their zone. This is what they're good at, but it's still good for them to learn how a manager and a leader works, because it teaches them how to better listen and deliver. So I think both sides of the coin is good for managers and leaders to listen to, the everyday people, workmen, and the workmen to understand how they work so they know how to deliver. So there isn't a divide of manager leader. It's about everybody understanding what everybody's role is and how we can interact with each other.
Absolutely. I always say, anyway, we are all leaders in a way.
Yes.
Even if it's not at work, at home, maybe you have children. Well, for your children, you are a leader because they look up to you. You are a role model. They like what you're doing, etc. Or maybe for your brother or sister, you're a leader because you're a great cook, or you're great at something that they are not. Your neighbors, maybe they look at you because you have a great garden or whatever. So we are all a leader, even if we don't know it. So it's not only at work where, as you say, you can become a manager, leader, but in one way or the other, we are all leaders. And sometimes we know it, sometimes we don't, but there is always someone looking up to us for one reason. Yes.
Don't forget, you're a leader in your own life.
Exactly.
You don't want anybody managing you.
No.
Right?
No.
You're the leader. And so even if you don't want to be a leader in your work per se, learn to be a leader in your own life.
Yeah. Be your own leader. Yeah, absolutely.
That's when you actually really know your strengths, your abilities and your gifts, and you know what to bring to the table of life, whether it's at work, whether it's socially, whether it's family. This is, I'm good in this zone. I can step up there. This is me, and that's, I think, is something very, very important. I think people in business, I mean, a neurosurgeon, I want them to have a degree. I want them to know what they're doing, but I also want them to be instinctual and intuitive, because even though they may have learned everything, they're always going to come into something that they've not come across before.
Yeah.
And that is where that intuitive knowledge will guide them through. So it's, again, back to the intellect, and the heart and soul intellect really has to merge as one in yourself for you to bring your whole self to the table. But, taking a course with you on, managers into leaders, I think it's still a very good course for someone to take who doesn't particularly want that role in the company, but just to understand what that role is so they know how to interact.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because also what I'm teaching or training or coaching on is how to communicate as well, how to be more confident. And as you say, it starts with yourself.
Yes.
You need to if you express confidence, if you're confident in yourself, and in our head we all have our little doubts and that
yes, the
exactly who are you and who do you think you are, etc. So we all have this, but still at some point you need to stand your ground, say yes, I can do this, yes, I believe in myself. And then how you communicate with people. If you're always arrogant and saying no, it's my way of the highway, people will not respect you, people will not want to work with you or give you a project or whatever. So it's all about communicating, respecting others, embracing diversity, etc. And all these things, as you rightly said, they are not just necessarily for people who want to become a manager or a leader. They are also for everybody who just wants to become a better version of themselves.
Yeah. And even though there might be a quote, somebody who's got the managerial label, in a project, especially if this is your forte, at some point you're going to be the manager of it. So know what's expected of you, or you're going to be the leader in that because it was your idea. So know how to deliver that. So I think it's something where it doesn't matter where, if you want to reach those other heights or not, it's still something that you should understand in yourself, because there's always going to be something for you to manage. There's always going to be some leadership you have to do, and you need to know those zones as well in order to be very good in your own.
And also some people may, as you say, may not think, oh, I want to be a manager and a leader. And once they are given the opportunity, they will say, oh my God, actually, I like it.
Yes,
and
I didn't know I could do this like the
exactly. So and as you say, as we said at the beginning, you have nothing to lose. You either win or you learn, but you never fail, because there is always
I mean, the only people that fail are those that never attempt to try.
Absolutely.
And it's like choices. Not making a choice is a choice.
Yes.
And so it's you don't know. I mean, for me, I've been doing this 8 years now, 7 years of my own network. Did I know what I was doing when I started it 7 years ago? No. It was like Braille going by blind. And I've evolved quite a bit from then. And that's what life is about. Do not go in expecting to know it all.
No.
But know your fundamentals and know how to open up and be aware, and when to step up, and to know that you've got the tools and the skills that when you need to step up, they're there.
Yeah, no, very true. And I would add another one, know your values as well. I think that is so important, because people we are so used to get up, go to work, and then come back home, or at least majority of people. And then sometimes you just are in a company or doing a job, and when you step back, you think, I actually don't like that. For this and that reason. But when you're really true to you, when you know your values and you're true to your values, then after you've got this relief, because you know that, okay, I need to change job, or I need to change company, or I need to do something else, because then you are true to yourself, and then you become grateful of what you have, then you become happy of what you have, and as you say again at the beginning, everything becomes aligned.
Yes, that salsa flow starts flowing in you, right? Exactly. But you also bring a better version of yourself to every aspect of your life.
Yes.
Now, how can you share abundance if it's not within you? You know, build yourself to be abundant because your cup will runneth over. And, you know, people say, well, what do you do for work? I said, quote, I really don't work. I do what I love doing. And it
Yeah.
is me that I'm sharing. And I'm Sarah on here and off here. So,
Yeah.
and although there are certain aspects of it that are definitely work, right? The other is pure pleasure because I love doing it. We all want to get into that position in a job in our lives where we feel this doesn't feel like work. This is
Yeah.
an extension of myself that I love to share.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because when I stopped working in the corporate world and decided to start on my own, since then I sometimes don't notice it's the weekend
Yes.
because I'm just like, to me, I don't, whether
No.
it's Monday or Saturday, to me it's the same because I love what I'm
Yeah.
doing. And it's just like, so when people tell me, oh, you're working this weekend, I'm like, oh, is that weekend? I don't even realize it, you
Yeah.
know? No,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
because you know, basically, you've got to where you're at, and that, you know, that beacon of light now is just being shared amongst other people. And what people don't realize is the more you share of yourself, and the more that other people get the light within them, the more it reflects back on you. We
Yeah,
constantly rejuvenate, you
yeah,
know, and that sharing is receiving. And that it's, you know, it's a beautiful feeling when you find that. And you know, to find that, you've got to be willing to take the journey, which means
yeah.
explore. And if you are in the world where, you know, there are managers and leaders in your company, and you don't know if you don't want to, if you are capable of being one, or you just want to understand better what they want from you so that you could be a better employee, then this is the time to go and discover. So
Yeah.
how do you do your, is it a workshop? Is it one-on-one? How do you do it, work it?
I can do both, but it's usually workshops. It can be, if it's on site, it was just a full day, for instance. But otherwise, I can also do that online, like the different sessions per week, 1 hour per week, where we discuss things. We are doing some activities, etc. And again, one-on-one, then it's the same, but then obviously a bit more in depth because we
Right,
have more time. Yes,
right,
yes.
right. So I think that everybody in any company should always have somebody go through some form of training when they join, because
Yes.
you know, you, oh, I've just got this great job, but are you you know, are you the apple and the bananas? You know, do you really fit? Have you just gone after the job for the title and this and that? Because we know in business, when people work cohesively together, everybody benefits. But if you've got one person is off sync and can't join that, it could be a detriment. So, you know, it's like you, oh, I've got this great job. Then you get, then you go, oh God, I hate this. And that's most of the time it's because you don't feel connected, because you don't know how to connect.
Exactly. And as you say, even if you hire someone who is a specialist in an
Yeah,
area, you shouldn't assume that this person from day one will be able to do that job because they need, it's a new organization, new people, new systems, new procedures, new everything. And that also takes time to learn the culture, to learn how people are communicating with each other, are interacting with each other.
yeah,
And as you said, training like that at the beginning can be very helpful because in a way, maybe some manager will think, well, I'm wasting a week or 2 weeks of training, but then this is really an investment because
yeah,
after this person is ready to go and use his or her skills to the maximum because he or she not only has the knowledge that he needs for the job, but he also has the knowledge about this new environment.
right. And it's also a way to find out whether it is for people or not. You know, I've done this training for 2 weeks. I really just don't feel a synergy here. All right,
Exactly.
it's not a waste,
No.
because if that person had gone into work and not given their all, that would have been the waste because they're not producing. So
Yeah, correct.
it is important that we really do give people the time to reveal themselves, but
Yes.
it's also that time to discover something about themselves during that process.
Yeah.
So we have to stop looking at things being, I want instant,
Yeah.
and you know, take the time to invest, the time to get to know, the time to nurture and bring that flower out in people, because if we do, we're going to have a Garden of Eden,
Yeah.
and we start
True.
picking apples and all cause the problem all over again.
True.
Oh, why not? So how do people get hold of you, Lev? If they want to join, you know, a workshop or one-on-one?
Sure. So they can contact me via LinkedIn, obviously, via my name, or on my website. My website is https /vlv.coach. So my initials vlv.coach. Or they can also send me a mail directly at virginie@vlv.coach. So virginie@vlv.coach.
And it's Virginia Lemay, Lemay. So when you're up there on
Yes.
LinkedIn and everything, you know the name. And I'm very excited about the changes that are going on, in that, you know, we're always going to, out of disruption and chaos comes creativity and structure. And I'm very interested right now globally to see the next phase, because it is about, you know, the stepping up and all the changes going up. And, you know, that is the way we work in companies, certain policies in companies, you know, of decorum, you know, the old Me Too movement and everything else. And it's time for us to hear all the voices, you know, not just those high one tone voices all the time. In an orchestra, everybody's music must come to
Yeah.
play. And otherwise we're missing out on the gifts that are there. So it's a great time to restructure and to relook at it and invest in people, because when you do, not only are you giving them abilities, but you're also creating loyalty.
Yeah. Yeah. And if people invest in themselves,
Yes.
this is something they will never lose.
Right.
The knowledge they're going to gain, and the knowledge, it can be something new that they're going to learn or something about themselves, but they will, whatever happens, they will never lose it. They will gain it forever.
Exactly. And it will go anywhere that they want to go.
Yeah.
Anywhere. And you know, that's the thing is in life, is that please don't sell yourself short. Don't just settle. You know, the more we're willing to learn, the more we're in discovery, the more we're willing to explore. You know, we also have got, you know, I'm 65, so we've got so many people of my age group going into a different life, going into a different business, doing something we love to do. You know, it isn't about the rocking chair
No.
or out there playing golf. It's about, okay, now I can actually choose what I really want to do.
Absolutely.
And you know, I've interviewed people 86 that are still out there.
And to your point, is I see, sorry to interrupt, but I see so many young people who want to be an entrepreneur, and I'm just saying, you don't have to be an entrepreneur before 25 or 30.
right,
Everybody has their own timing. As you said,
right.
I also started like in my 40s,
Hmm.
and it's just like, some people will start when they're 20, some when they are 40, some when they're 60, some when 80.
Hmm.
It does not matter. We all have our own timing, and I really believe that things happen for a reason.
Yes.
And one time someone asked me as well, a young lady, she asked me, yeah, but don't you feel it's a bit late? And I was like, no, because if I had started earlier, I would not have had all this experience I've had with
Exactly.
Amazon and with the people I
Yeah.
worked in India. So I'm glad I had this
Right.
experience. So people should really think like, whatever happens, happen as long as you keep on learning, keep on improving yourself, and your timing will come whenever it comes. That's it.
Exactly. And so many people I've interviewed that have been in the corporate world, and they had a desire as a child and an ability as a child, and they suppressed it when they got the job, and they reached the top of their job, six-figure income, and they go, you know, the inner child is saying, you know, calling me, I've got all of this, but I just don't feel connected. And they literally walk away and then reinvent themselves from that child up again, and the ability. Are they earning as much money? No, but they're more enriched and they're more abundant,
Happier.
and they're so much happier for doing what
Yeah.
they're doing. But all that they learned before has now become that platform and that base in order to produce what they're doing next. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if they, you know, I've had people who've been in advertising and then became children's novelist books. Well, the structure she learned in advertising and all the ability, that's the reason why all her books are out there, right? So
Exactly.
nothing is a waste, but please don't waste your time being at something you're unhappy at. Don't wait for the cosmic 2x4, the car accident or anything else. You know, it is, you feel it in your bones and you go, okay, what can I do to change? And maybe just taking a course with you to understand, you know, how to be that leader in your own life or managerial, it could give you some light bulbs. in your own mind. And that's sometimes what we need. You know, we need to reach out to other people to kind of help shift our perspective when we feel stuck in the mud.
Absolutely. Very true.
So it's vlvcoaching.com.
No, vlv.coach.
.coach. vlv.coach. Okay.
Yeah.
Work one-on-one, work in groups. I think the benefit of working in groups is you get to know other people and you build up a camaraderie, which is nice, and you learn from each other. But maybe you want to start off one-on-one until your confidence is built up, you know, and one doesn't know if you're going to be of service to them until they reach out to you and have a chat, right?
Exactly. Yes, they are free to contact me. I'm happy to have a quick conversation with them via Zoom or Skype or whatever, WhatsApp, whatever. And we can take things from there.
Yep, and then see if there is that synergy and that fit.
Exactly.
If there is, then just show them another area in life where they're going. And we've just got to be willing to step out of our comfort zone or our fear zone or our rut and go, you know, there is more to life. I'm not feeling I'm participating in my life, and I really need to reach out, because there's surely the more I can do, there's more I can be, right? Exactly. The willingness to do it. Well, I hope you get back to your salsa soon. I assume that you must be doing it in your bedroom at least.
Still practicing some moves, yes.
Yes, you got to keep that flow going. And, you know, we never know what our dance of life is until, you know, we're willing to explore. The exploration of life will lead you to where you're meant to be, to do what you were designed to do and love doing it. And so sometimes we've got to get out of our, you know, dictatorial way and, you know, oh, I must be doing this by this age and I must be doing that by then. You know, I'm sorry, no. Those time zones are gone now. Those barriers are gone now. It's all a question of participation, right?
Absolutely.
Interact, participate, explore, and discover.
Yes, be willing to take the first step.
Yes, that's all it takes, the first step. Then you notice that your second leg wants to move forward as well. And next thing you know, there's quite a number of steps you've taken and you're in the salsa. And you don't know it until you try it. And that's the whole point of life, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for sharing with me here today. And I'm glad you took your redirect and discovered the salsa of life, because obviously you bring that dance into your life as well. Yeah. And that gentleness, you know, there's a lot of people who come from corporate and it's all about push, 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 goals, this, that, etc. And I always feel that puts a blockage in people instead of bringing people out, you know, in their own light, in their own, you know, gently kind of like squeezing that light out of them for them to see for themselves. We can't be bullied into anything. We need to be nurtured.
Very well said. Very well said. Thank you for having me, Sarah. It was great.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So folks, you don't know where you're at right now. Maybe you want to change directions. You know, is the managerial in you? Is there a leader in you? Do you have particular managers and leaders in your own company that you're really not quite sure what they want from you? This is a course for you where you can actually discover something about yourself, discover about management and about leadership, and you don't know where it's going to take you, but it's damn good knowledge to have in your repertoire. So until next time, folks, take care of yourself. Bye for now. We hope you enjoyed the show. We look forward to bringing you more shows. Please go to selfdiscoverymedia.com/shows and you will see the incredible lineup of genres and shows that we have for you. We are here to make a difference in your life. Thank you for listening.